Morning guys, and welcome back to I Like Watches. Now I'm sure you've noticed over the last 18 months or so the incredible pace that the folks at San Martin seem to be working at. They're releasing new watches onto AliExpress all the time, sometimes more than one a week, and it is a struggle to keep up, isn't it? And occasionally they'll release onto AliExpress a couple of watches that look quite similar, but actually they're very, very different, and that's what they've done recently. This is the SN0050, and this is the SN0058. When you look at these watches on AliExpress, yes, there are some differences, but they also look quite similar. So in this video, instead of producing individual reviews for these watches, I'm going to compare these two watches, show you what's the same, show you what's different, and then you'll hopefully be in a better position to decide if either of these are suitable for you. Now, these watches were sent to me to review for you guys. I'm also going to be putting some affiliate links in my video description. That's why you will see the includes paid promotion icon in the top left hand corner. But don't forget guys, there is a sale fast approaching at the start of November. It will be the 11th of the 11th sale. So if either of these watches interest you, pop them in your basket, check out during the sales, you'll get the discount. This channel benefits from the commission. Everyone's a winner. And if you enjoy my content, please guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe. And I just want to quickly show you a watch box. It arrived today. It is the Grand Seiko featuring the 8J movement. I bought the cheapest Grand Seiko available on Chrono24. So I'm going to show you that in another video. So make sure you sub and stick around. All right, let's get on and have a look at these other two, shall we? Here's the first watch then. This is the SN0050. This was released onto AliExpress fairly recently. It is a homage watch, but I think it's more loosely based on the original watch that it's paying homage to. Here's the second watch. This has been around for around 6 months or so. This is the SN058, and I think it's a stronger homage watch. It looks a lot more similar to the watch that it is paying homage to. And interestingly, when you flick between the two watches like this, some of the differences become more obvious, don't they? This first one is bigger. It's also got some Roman numerals on the dial. The bezel is smooth, whereas this one seems to be a little bit smaller, has a fluted bezel, and just has your standard battens at the 5-minute markers. The prices are also quite different, and that is primarily because they have different movements. This first one houses a YN55A. It is an Epson movement made by Seiko Epson, beats at 21,600 beats per hour, hacks and hand winds. It's generally cheaper than the movements offered in this watch. Here you can see they're offering a PT5000 or an SW200, so this watch is understandably a little bit more expensive. There's also a few differences in the options available for this first one. You've only got 5 colours available, no sterile dial options or movement options, but for this second one you've got 7 colours available, all available signed or sterile, and all available with a PT5000 or an SW200. So you've got a lot more options with this SN058. Here's the two watches then side by side. On the left you've got the SN0050. On the right you've got the SN058. I've already run through a few of the differences. There are a lot more to get through, so I'm going to break it down into different elements of the watch. Starting with the case. Now I've just noticed the shape of the lugs are actually different. The finishing is different as well. The watch on the right has a fully polished case, whereas the watch on the left has polished sides but brushing to the top of the case, and also the end links on this watch on the left are flat look, so the case does stretch out to meet the end links, whereas on this watch the end links are curved and they butt right up to the curved case. The crowns actually look quite similar, although the crown on the left understandably is a little bit bigger to keep it in proportion with the case. The side profile of the cases actually look quite similar, but the case backs are obviously different. The crystals are very, very different, and the bezels are different, so the overall side profile is quite different. You've also got female end links on the watch on the right and male end links on the watch on the left. And there's the two case backs. You've got a more traditional case back on the smaller watch and a high polished case back on the larger watch. Now the bracelets are identical. I can't find any differences in the bracelets other than the end links, because you've got male end links on the left and female end links on the right, and also I've just mentioned they finish flat on the larger watch, and on the smaller watch they are curved, butting up to the curvature of the case. Both solid end links, solid links, screw pins, and the clasps as well appear to be identical. Same number of micro adjusts, same finishing, same logo, same milled inner elements. So the bracelets and the clasps are very, very similar, if not, well, identical. Now I'm going to show you the side profile again to point out the differences with the crystals. They are quite different. They are both sapphire crystals. The watch on the left has a piece of double domed box crystal with an internal AR coating, which is blue. You can see that blue hue around the outside of the crystal. It is quite subtle, but it is there. But the smaller watch has a flat piece of sapphire crystal. It does sit above the fluted bezel. You've also got a sapphire magnifier, which has a blue AR coating. I think the AR coating on the main piece of crystal is clear. As you can see, both watches have sunburst effect dials. The watch on the left does have the applied Roman numerals as well as the rectangular battens. The watch on the right just has your standard rectangular loom filled battens. Both have applied logos, although the logo on the left does look a little bit bigger. The print above the 6 looks identical. The hands appear to be identical and kept to scale as well, so they look the same, but the hands on the left are obviously a little bit bigger to keep them in proportion. The watch on the right obviously has a date complication with a framed date window under that cyclops. The watch on the left has no date complication, although the movement inside here does have a date complication. So yeah, you've got a ghost position on this watch, but you don't have a ghost position on this watch. Right, I've zoomed in so we can take a good look at the loom on both of these watches. They both have loom filled applied indices with blue BGW9, so let's just see if there's any difference. So you ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, the initial burst seems to be pretty much the same, doesn't it? I'm going to let this run for a couple of minutes and just see if there's any obvious differences. Well, they seem to be degrading at pretty much the same pace, so yeah, let's weigh these two watches. The larger watch, set up for my 7¼ inch-ish wrist, now weighs 126 grams. And the smaller watch, adjusted for my wrist, weighs 109 grams. Now, if I had to buy one of these two watches by just looking at the listings on AliExpress, I'm almost certain I would have bought this SN058. I think the size of this watch on paper is more desirable to me. This is the size of watch I think I would prefer. And yeah, I like the fluted bezel. I like the dressier nature of the watch. But having had both watches now for a while, having worn them, filmed them, done this comparison, I'm convinced that this is actually the watch I prefer. It is a little bit bigger, and it actually wears bigger than the 39mm suggests, but I am preferring the cleaner look. I prefer the polished bezel, the brushing on top of the case, the dials a little bit bigger. It just looks a little bit less busy and less cluttered. But they are both incredible watches, finished beautifully as you'd expect from San Martin, and the bonus is this one's actually a fair bit cheaper. Yes, it has the YN55A movement in it, but some of you I'm sure would prefer that over the PT5000, maybe not the SW200 version of this watch. But that one's getting quite expensive, isn't it? Right, guys, I hope that comparison helped. If you've got any questions, if I've missed anything out, let me know in the comment section and I'll pin a comment or I'll reply to you guys. But yeah, I hope that's cleared up the similarities and differences between these two watches. And I've actually got a couple of other watches that have arrived from San Martin that I think I want to do the same sort of video for. It's these two watches here. They look very, very similar, even more similar than these two. So yeah, I'm going to do a similar comparison video of these two watches very, very soon. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. As always, massive thank you from me to you for tuning in. I do really, really appreciate it. Take care, guys. Look after yourselves. You'll see me again very, very soon.